Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy podcast. Hosted by our headmaster, Jared Bachman Stubbs. You can find all of us here at the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com. Our shows, the Nerd Academy Podcast, Knights of the Nerd Republic, and Campus Life are released weekly at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget, check out our Patreon where every donation helps to keep the lights on.
Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy Podcast. I am your host and headmaster, Jared the Dark Jedi Bachman Stubbs, and joining me today is Black Leader Travis Grossman.
That one wasn't as good. I had to stop for a second to get my bearings again.
How are you doing on this lovely Monday evening, Travis?
For some reason, really tired, even though I've done nothing of note today.
You know, sometimes, as a wise man once said, it'd be like that.
It do.
It really do.
I think I'm just really frustrated with a certain game I've been playing.
Yeah, what certain game have you been playing?
Well, his name is Levi, but no. Levi just decided it was time to text him to the chat. I need this Mountain Dew. You see, over this week, I completed my Odyssey. Finished Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It was bad. It was not good. I attempted to have sex with the final villain because that was an option the game gave me. And as it turned,
and this is why I've said off the record, and I'm going to say it now on record. It is shit like that even though you are not like a horny person in the real world, you're very ironically horny.
I just like
your threshold for sex jokes is very high. Like, you take it there very quickly, but in a really absurd way.
Because it's absurd. Well, the whole the game partially was marketed on the fact that you can be whatever sexuality you want. Like, that was a choice you had as the player. And
that's cool.
It's cool, except when you play it, you realize that it wasn't because they wanted to be inclusive. They were just really fucking lazy and didn't want to, put in proper options to build out your character the way you wanted. So it has to be open, it has to be you can have sex with whoever you want to not conflict depending on if you're playing as Alexios or Cassandra.
I see.
So it's not out of inclusiveness. It's out of laziness. So in protest, I romanced every character I could possibly romance, which it just happens to include the leader of the cult you're trying to kill off. So that happened, and I was like, well, at least I can put that behind me. I'll play the DLC, and the DLC invalidates the one thing I liked about that game.
Oh, no. What was that?
I was like, the cult is really cool. And they're like a proto-Templar group, right? That group will lead into the Order of the Ancients, and then we go on our merry way in the Assassin timeline. And that's not true. They have nothing to do with...
Really?
Order of the Ancients exists completely separate. And they existed before this game started. And none of it mattered. Assassin's Creed Odyssey effectively does not matter. It's a dumb, bad game. Don't play it.
I like that you keep, in your quest to have a full understanding of the Assassin's Creed timeline, that you keep coming across games that, have maybe one lore nugget, a minute detail, and then calls it a fucking day as far as its importance is concerned.
Uh-huh.
It'll be this is what the Templars called themselves before they were Templars. You can turn the game off now. And, that's not even true.
Yeah.
In this case, that's not even something on the table.
Ubisoft Quebec does not understand. They're like a separate entity, and they kind of do the team switching thing that, Call of Duty did years ago. They're still doing, but, they used to do well known years ago. And Quebec just has no idea what they're doing when they're writing the story. It's so bad. But because I finished that, there's one main series game that I don't own and haven't played. And because waiting would kill me, I paid the e-store price for Assassin's Creed Unity.
Yeah.
I regret every cent I spent.
So,
That game is.
how far are you in
I
Unity?
just did. This is the one kill you told me about, where you can kill him in the confessional booth.
Okay, like the coolest game, one of the coolest kills in the franchise.
Yeah, that mission alone frustrated me to no end. I would have been further, but last night I had to let the whole game install. Like, it installed enough that I could open it. It only let you play like two missions, and then it was like you had to wait to install. And I was like, it's 1:00. If I wait for this to install, it'll be 2:00. No, so I went to sleep.
Yeah, fair enough. So you did get to see Arno do like the discount spider sense scene in the Bastille?
Yeah, I hate that. Wait, discount spider. What?
When he's like able to use the eagle vision to like read.
Oh yeah, I mean that's just using eagle vision.
I know, it's just the way they frame it seems like how spider sense is used in Spidey games. So that's the vibe I got. Outside of Assassin's Creed, anything else fun?
Not particularly. This has been my life's work now for the past month and a half. And it's probably gonna kill me. Like, I'm probably gonna, like, while trying to free run in Unity, just finally have a full on like chest collapse, have a heart attack, and die. I've kind of accepted that as my fate. At this point, I'm just waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, thank you for your service. And
you're not welcome.
I will be playing Valhalla, so like you won't have to go through that alone.
Okay.
I have every intention of playing Valhalla.
I have like reasonably like not high, but baseline hopes, which is higher than I have had for Assassin's Creed.
Like Travis is going into Valhalla, just like, I don't think this game will give me suicidal ideations.
So, like that's already a step above where we've been.
Yeah, that's a marked improvement that you need that in your life. Yeah, I haven't been doing much either. As I was telling you off the record, and have been making jokes to people, or made a joke earlier today. Not too long ago, you got me into Gus Johnson and all of the people in his orbit, the Eddie Burbacks and Svens and everything. And I've listened to a little bit of the Gus and Eddie podcast before, but over the past couple days, I like my normal like weekly content kind of ran dry, and I wasn't in the mood to listen to the one audiobook I'm listening to right now. So I was like, fuck it, I'll listen to some Gus and Eddie. And happened upon Booger Wall.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
And I just want to say up front, Thor did Booger Wall. Gus Johnson is an innocent man.
I'm kind of, because like whichever one of them did it knows they did it. Yeah. And I really wanted at the end to be like them reveal if they got it right.
Well, I think Drew Gooden's hypothesis, it may have been Jake. It may not have been Drew. But I think Drew Gooden's hypothesis that there's a good chance that Thor doesn't even remember doing it.
I mean, he would have been like 7.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think it was Gus. I will die on that hill. But no, I have been really enjoying their show quite a lot. even though it's making me question whether or not any of this is worth it, because they're just too goddamn good.
All that raises to me though is the next time, because like when I went to Gus's live show last year, he had like there was an hour of stand up, and then basically an hour of Q&A. Not quite an hour, but like, we just got to shoot the shit. It was great, and I can now immediately see that. Now at every one of his live shows, once this is over and he goes back on tour, if he does it again, every first question he gets will be, "Did you actually do Booger Wall?" Like every single one, without question.
No, there's no doubt. I enjoyed the fuck out of just the entire format.
It's
just that whole episode was magnificent.
I will not have a kangaroo court, Eddie.
Kangaroo court.
Oh, Eddie. Eddie got me, dude. Okay, did you watch Eddie's new video this week?
Yes, I did. I am disappointed in Eddie's new video. The one thing that like really made me upset about it was when he was talking about the ShamWow guy, that he did not bring up the slap chop device, wherein the ShamWow guy looks down the barrel of the camera and says the words, "You're gonna love my nuts, I guarantee it."
I love my nuts.
And Eddie neglected to bring that up. Like, that shit emotionally scarred me as a child, where I saw this man just like at like 2 PM just making all kinds of sex jokes while just showing off what was basically a glorified handheld food processor.
So how much of that commercial do you think you have now in your mind you can't separate the actual commercial from the I forget what the channel was called, but they did a bunch of like funny redubs of infomercials.
I know what you're talking about.
If I look it up, I'll find it. Hold on.
Yeah.
But
no, I know precisely what you're talking about, though.
Djibouti dubs. Okay, I remembered.
Djibouti dubs.
How, because that one in particular, I don't know what was real and what's Djibouti dubs anymore. It's just all one long commercial.
It's like the MCU just seen on TV product. Like Billy Mays' ShamWow War.
Oh my god.
Fucking Space Bags Endgame.
I'm also curious now if Mighty Putty worked. I want to know.
I mean, Flex Tape worked, so Mighty probably worked.
I don't know. That's a question for later. When I remember in a fit of I need to Google this right now.
You're gonna wake up at 5 AM and just go to Walmart in your underwear to. But yeah, no, Eddie's new video was really good, and I got through maybe the first 15 minutes of the podcast today, and Eddie was boasting that he's planning on having a new video out at some point this week as well. So he's on a roll. Good for him. I rewatched his Xbox video the other day, and still laughed my ass off because that's some comedy gold right there. Before we move on into our story today, I want to know about the
apparently it doesn't activate as quickly as they said it does on the commercial, but it works.
Okay, so it's not a miracle product.
It doesn't. You don't cut it off, need it, and it's immediately good to go, kind of thing. I assume. I didn't read the whole article. We're recording, but
so. In the same vein, real quick, how percentage-wise, 100 being 1-to-1 and 1% being completely different products, how close to accurate do you think the Flex Tape commercials are?
I'd say the same thing about the Mighty Putty. I think it's a 1-to-1. I think it's the actual product. They just use way more of it than they're letting on. In that thing in the Mighty Putty commercial where they're pulling the fucking Freightliner, not Freightliner, but the 18-wheeler or whatever.
Yeah. You
gotta imagine they're just using the densest brick of Mighty Putty they could possibly make.
Oh yeah.
In that same vein where they flex sealed the boat or whatever, or like the bucket. They used like 18,000 cans of Flex Seal to make it work, but it technically worked, and so they're not lying in their advertisement.
Yeah. I think that's true. I really want to like be behind the scenes for Phil Swift like filleting a fucking like monster truck,
Yeah.
and then to be there as they just flex tape it back together, like no welding equipment, nothing, elaborate, just fucking tape. But yeah, lots of fun stuff. And we will probably have more. We'll have lots of shit to talk on Campus Life. Mostly because of that sinfully bad Star Wars ranking that Ben Shapiro put
I didn't
out.
watch it. I couldn't.
That I
It was one of those things where you sent it into the chat really late at night, and I was like, "Oh my god, Jared, no, I can't. Not now."
Oh, you have to go back and watch it. It's so bad. Even though I kind of put the highlights in the chat. But I know we're definitely going to be talking about it on Campus Life. But this week on this show, the Nerd Academy, there's no news.
None at all.
We are sans news this week, which is to be expected. Even though, as weird as it is, this technically would have been our 1 week after box office report for Black Widow.
Here it is, $0 and 0 cents.
Yeah, $0, 0 cents. The biggest flop Disney has ever had. The MCU is dead. Feminism ruined the MCU.
Kathleen Kennedy fired.
Kathleen Kennedy has been fired. And Brie Larson has been executed by firing squad.
Executed by incel guillotine.
Yeah. The executioner isn't wearing a veil. It's just a fucking Pepe head just pulling the rope. But like he walks up there and like the physical embodiment of the Chad meme, like he's going up there with the Pepe head and the Chad thing going, I liked Wonder Woman. This is just gender identity politics.
Oh Jesus! Speaking of Wonder Woman, what are we?
Yes.
What are we talking about today, Jared?
We are gonna do a little recap retrospective on the DC animated movie universe. I don't know if there is a more concise way to describe that.
Because, like, if you say DC Animated Universe, there are two of them now, and you have to differentiate. So, we are talking specifically about the films that DC's been putting out from 2013 to now. You probably saw a few of them on Netflix. They then were taken off of Netflix with everything else DC and put on DC Universe, except some of them aren't on DC Universe. I don't know why. Warner Brothers owns them. They can just... Why aren't they there?
Because fuck you, Travis. Because you're the only person left using DC Universe and they want to fuck with you.
I guess. I can't think of another reason. Thankfully, there are... Excuse me. There are actually 3 that I haven't seen that aren't on DC Universe, not 2.
Okay. So up top, what 3 haven't you seen?
Justice League Dark.
Okay, that one I can cover you on.
Teen Titans Judas Contract, which I watched several reviews of when the movie came out, so I have like a relative idea of...
Okay, I didn't catch Judas Contract. I'm so embarrassed by the fact that I missed most of these movies.
I mean, I did too. I didn't watch any of them except I watched War and Flashpoint when they were on Netflix, and they're phenomenal.
Same.
And when they moved after watching Young Justice again, and then watching Titans, I was like, I need to watch something that isn't complete dog shit. And I haven't watched any of these. So I guess I'll watch these. So I watched everything I had available to me. The other one I haven't seen is Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. Which...
That's another one I haven't seen, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I'm good for War, obviously Reign of the Superman, or the Death of Superman duology.
Yeah.
Dark. Which one introduces Damian Wayne?
Son of Batman.
Oh, it is just called Son of Batman? Yeah. I was going to say that didn't sound like the right title. And then I watched Bad Blood.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I was like in and out of consciousness during it, not because I didn't like it necessarily, but because I was like, I'm going to watch this after like consecutive very long days at work, and then just got comfy, as I am one to do, and nodded off. So I will weigh in where I can. You know, obviously we both know a considerable amount about the lore here, so it's not like it's going to necessarily be hard to hold court with that bit. But in honor of the final movie in this little universe they've created, Justice League Dark Apokolips War.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, I don't know why they felt the need to specify that it was Justice League Dark, because you end up with that obnoxiously long title, and the fact that there are people who are reviewing it who are putting the dark in the wrong place. Like, I've seen people make reviews that are like Justice League : Dark Apokolips War, which, like, to the layman, that's not their fault.
But also,
like, just look at the fucking poster. But yeah, we're going to recap all the movies that are in this little universe, and then no promises yet, but depending on how the news shapes up moving forward between this week and the next, and whether or not Travis and I can get our hands on it, we're going to try to review Apokolips War.
Yeah, unfortunately, again, for whatever, I understand because they want to push disc sales, but they don't put these movies directly to DC Universe when they release. Usually takes a couple months. It took Wonder Woman Bloodlines like way too long, long, which I finally watched this morning.
Yes.
And that is not where we're starting. So we're going in order, right?
Yes.
Then we go back to 2013 for the Flashpoint Paradox, which is a retelling of the famous Flash book that kicks off the New 52, which is the variation of the Justice League this universe is based on, for the most part. Movie's good.
It's fun. I've always liked that storyline. You know, obviously it gave birth to the, different Batman iterations always sell. So the Bruce Wayne gets shot in Crime Alley, and then Thomas Wayne becomes the Batman, and Martha becomes the Joker. That's what this universe is kind of known for mainly. My only gripe with Flashpoint, both the movie and the comic, have always been the really strange implication that somehow Flash saving his mother, like, that's how hard that ripple effect goes.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think they just wanted to try some weird, like, alt-universe thing, and they needed a character that travels regularly and could keep his memory, so they picked the Flash. You know, like, if it was Batman doing this, he would have saved his parents in Crime Alley. This was... Yeah,
exactly.
I don't know that Clark has a big moment that he would have stopped, actually.
I mean, it's not like he really could have done anything to save Krypton.
Seeing as he was a babby.
Yeah, well, not even that. Like, even if, like, fully powered Clark Kent went back to Krypton,
there's nothing he could have.
Yeah, even that's out of his power range to somehow do it. Unless we're talking Christopher Reeve and he's just going to fly around it and time travel it. But yeah, Flashpoint's really good.
Yeah. Sorry. You brought me to a bad movie. This movie's great.
Whoa. We were pumping the brakes. What did you just say?
I said nothing.
Whoa, that is a spicy take, especially from somebody who
It's not a bad movie, it's a bad moment. It's one of those, like, I can't ever unhate that moment, you know?
Okay, that's fair. I was gonna say, like, Superman the motion picture is a product of its time, but I would not call it bad. Okay, but we can agree that that scene's fucking absurd.
It's dumb. I don't. Ugh.
No, okay, no, we can get down with that.
I like Flashpoint. Yeah, it's just good. They cut the fat they needed cut to make this into a movie, right? Like, it's that perfect bit of, like, it's a story about the Flash. It's all from the Flash's perspective. The fight between Aquaman and Wonder Woman that's happening, like, on the side is really well done, too, right?
Yeah, it's an interesting war to set up where, like, again, you know, the Flashpoint universe at its core is like a very dystopian version of the main DC universe.
I meant the literal, like, catching hands fight.
Like Aquaman version.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like the Atlantean.
No.
Okay.
I meant, like, the war is also interesting, obviously, but, like, that fight is really well done. Also, Wonder Woman murders 7 children, so that's neat.
Yeah. That was like one of my very few gripes with the conflict between Aquaman and Wonder Woman, though, is I always thought it was just kind of dumb that, like, the war was started because Aquaman had an affair. And I don't know. I would have liked if they found something that was a little bit more political intrigue than it basically being like a proxy cat fight between Mara and Wonder Woman.
What do you mean proxy?
I mean, like, the war.
Someone got decapitated. That's not a proxy fight.
I know. I mean, the proxy war is like, it's all. That was a bad choice of words. I mean that, like, Aquaman is basically now having to fight because of the affair.
Yeah.
When, like, it all starts because of it. I that's like the one thing I never liked about that conflict as much as I like the war itself happening. But nitpicking.
It's still one of the best movies in the lineup.
Yes.
We just replied to a tweet. Hi, Amber. I don't know what she replied to.
Me either. I will say, now jog my memory. Do they recreate the frame from the comic where Thomas Wayne Batman runs Reverse Flash through with a fucking broadsword? No. Or does he use like a piece of like rebar or something?
None. He shoots him in the head.
Oh, he shoots him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. No, I can see the frame now because you see like the bullet
through his head. Yeah, you see Thomas through his head. And later on, Reverse Flash shows up in a different movie, and I can't remember which one. Maybe it's one of the ones I haven't seen. But they're like, "Aren't you dead?" And he's like, "I should be, but, like, time's weird." Like, in that way where whenever they finally beat Reverse Flash, he's always still around, and they're like, "You, like, don't exist anymore." And he's like, "I know, weird, right?" But he, like, takes off his mask when he's describing it, and the wound is still there, like he's still been shot in the head.
Oh my God.
It's very odd. Like,
that is very graphic too. Like, these movies,
actually, I think it's
for one thing, are quite violent.
I think it's they're PG-13. They they all get about one shit, you know, that classic.
They get about one shit.
I think it's in Suicide Squad, and that's why I've seen the scene, but I haven't seen the whole movie.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but this is what introduces us to our character. A lot of our characters, just Elseworld versions, and then they went on to, using the same cast of people, make Justice League War in 2014, which tells a variation on the New 52 formation of the Justice League, which is the League coming together to fight Darkseid.
Yes.
Which I want to say the lineup is like is different by a person. Like the 7 in the movie, there's like one person swapped out, and I don't remember.
Aquaman is.
You're right.
Is in the original formation.
Aquaman for Shazam, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the movie switches because Aquaman gets his own movie later on.
Yeah, played by Matt Lanter of the Clone Wars fame.
Another solid one. Like all the animation in these two movies in particular are better than most of the rest of the like universe.
Yeah, yeah, definitely for the most part. That is true.
Also,
No, this one's a lot of fun. Oh, sorry.
this movie produced one of like my favorite. It's not even a meme format that people use. It's just like a really funny GIF that I love. That I watched with my friend Trey, who I used to live with, and there's this scene when Darkseid first shows up, and Hal is just like, he's a chump. I got this, and he flies up and gets swatted away, and he rushes into the building, falls, and then parademons just like comedically show up and just start pummeling him.
Yeah, it's almost like a Looney Tunes bit.
It's so funny.
It is.
Just thinking about it. Oh man, I love it. I love this movie. Makes me want we're not getting any more movies, unfortunately, but I want stories of Bruce and Hal having to work together. I don't know what we were talking about.
You were talking about Justice League War, and then the headphone thing came unplugged, and I got very
I know
scared.
we're talking about Justice League War. Funny GIF. I wanted. That's what it was. I want more Bruce and Hal Jordan team ups because their chemistry is hilarious.
God, they're so good. They're so good.
The interplay of like, so what's your power? Do you like fly? Do you suck blood? Nope. You're just a guy in a costume. So what does this do? And he's just holding Hal's ring. Like it's perfect.
That's the best. That is the best. That is some of the best Batman in a very long time. It's right up there with like, even though Justice League has its flaws, like there are some amazing Batman moments in that movie, especially with so what's your superpower again? I'm rich. Like shit like that. Very entertaining. Very, again, it because it tries to be so closely sourced from the New 52. You do have, in my opinion, what is one of the worst romantic pairings in the history of comic books of Diana Prince and Clark Kent. I do not like Wonder Woman and Superman as a couple.
I don't either, but I like that. I like that it happens because it fails. Yeah. Because like it makes these two people. It makes sense that in this version of this universe, the first time they see each other, they're just like, "You're the only person I've known like me," and that's intoxicating in and of itself. And that
on paper they should work.
Not even that they should work. It just makes sense that something happens there because of that infatuation.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And I like that it happens so that it can fail, so that Clark can be with Lois and Diana can be with Steve Trevor. Like it just works out that happens for a second, and they're like, this isn't what we wanted. That
makes me realize, and this isn't something that occurred to me until just now. I mean, at least with the Trinity, there's something really nice about the fact that the romances amongst them kind of boil down to this, you level me out in X way.
Yeah.
Where, with Wonder Woman and Superman, they both fall in love with people who are, they may not be superhuman and they may not be, people who are, incredibly notable because of something they can do with their body in the way that Clark and Diana can, but their humanity is almost a superpower unto itself with both Steve and Lois. And with Selena Kyle, with Bruce, you get that, she kind of makes Bruce realize how much he enjoys being Batman in a fucked up way.
Mm-hmm.
That she gives him enough, she's not a... Selena's dangerous, but she's not a violent criminal in the way that the Joker or the Penguin is.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never not that I dislike the pairing of Bruce and Selena. I've just never thought of Bruce having a love interest ever.
Yeah, he's harder to pin down for that.
Yeah,
I mean, me personally, I slightly more prefer Bruce with Diana.
I do too, but like
that's my
we're
my
biased.
Justice League cartoon bias. Yeah, it's because of the Justice League cartoon that I
Like I can admit, like I enjoy that pairing, but I'm also biased, and I know that wouldn't work, and you know.
It depends on how you write it and like at what point in their life they're in when they come together.
I suppose.
Honestly,
But the fight with War is good. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Animation's really solid. The fight's really good. Watching it's that point in the universe where like everyone is aware of each other, but no one is really like formally met. With a couple of like Hal and Barry have met and worked together. Bruce knows who Clark is. Like he knows Superman is Clark Kent. Things like that. Like Bruce has already done his investigating. He just had no reason to like make contact. Things of that nature.
now remind me. Does Clark X-ray vision through the cowl in this one, or is this the one where Bruce has the lead lining in the cowl? Like, do they try to do do they try to do a reference to the animated series meetup? Like the "you peaked" thing with the mask?
I don't.
Because part of me feels like there's a scene where like Bruce or Clark tries to look through the cowl and he's like, "You asshole, there's lead in there. How did you know that?"
Yeah, no, it's I can't remember. I know because Clark is rushing Bruce, and Bruce stops him by calling him Clark. And he's like, "Oh, okay, this is weird. You know who I am." And I know at that point he X-rays the mask. I can't remember if he knows if there's lead in his mask or not. I don't think there is. I think from that moment they know who each other are.
Okay.
But I'd have to. I haven't watched the movie in like a year. I'd have to rewatch it.
Same. Yeah, it's been so long since I watched Justice League War, but it's still. Anytime Bruce and Clark meet for the first time, it's always fun. Except for when it's not in Batman v Superman, but whatever. But I just love their dynamic.
You're gonna bait me. You're not gonna bait me today, boy.
What?
I don't want to talk about that movie. Not again.
Okay, I was just saying. I don't. I can admit that their meetup there is.
Oh, I thought you meant.
Leaves to be
I
desired.
thought you were saying the reverse. I thought you were saying that their meetup there is the one you like.
No. I mean, the scene at Lex Luthor's party is fun to watch.
I'll give you that.
That is fun.
No, I always enjoy the first time Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne meet.
Yes.
That's always pretty fun.
They don't quite stick the landing with Superman and Batman meeting.
Yeah. But
aside from the obnoxiously edgy and badass, tell me do you bleed bullshit.
Do you bleed?
But yeah, no, War's a lot of fun. Definitely lays the groundwork for what's to come. I've never known how I felt about Darkseid being like the Justice League's main antagonist. Because the Justice League has this same weird thing going on with it where more often than not, their main rival, it's kind of like with the Avengers, how one of the Avengers' first real adversaries is just the villain of one of the specific members.
Mm-hmm.
That just has a plan that requires some backup for once.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a strange phenomenon where, if you ask me who my favorite frequent enemies of the Justice League is, I'd probably say either Brainiac or Darkseid, but, it's just weird that they're both Superman villains first and foremost.
Well, because if they're powerful enough to take on Supes, then that means they probably require the League to properly take down. But
yeah, that's fair.
My thing is that because the Justice League traditionally comes together over a not supernatural necessarily, but extraterrestrial threat, right?
Yeah.
Like in the cartoon, it's the
White Martians.
Yeah, they are white Martians, aren't they?
Yeah.
I always think they're ex-alien race. I always forget they're actual white Martians.
Yeah.
And recent tellings, it's been Darkseid. So, like, I don't know. It is weird that it's Darkseid. In Young Justice, it's just like some weird elemental nonsense, like alien elementals or something.
Yeah.
You know?
But War is a lot of fun. I enjoy
very
it. Like
good.
I said, there's lots of good Batman moments.
There's lots of good everyone. Like, it's just a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you have, like,
Absolutely.
the classic Wonder Woman ice cream scene is in there.
I love that is a staple for her character.
It's just like that.
Now
That has to be everywhere.
so much. It makes my heart happy. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to peek behind the curtain real quick. Are you still in Discord right now, or are you in a different tab?
I'm still in Discord right now.
Okay, cool. Because your camera is frozen on like the most cheerful smile, and it makes me happy. You're a beautiful man with a beautiful face. But yeah, you're back.
There we go. Yeah, I don't know why. That was weird.
I do also want to call attention to the cast in this universe.
And how good it is.
To my knowledge, yes. To my knowledge, there hasn't really been any change-ups as far as the characters go, really,
Nope,
right?
they've all been the same the whole time as far as I'm aware. Rosario Dawson as Wonder Woman nails it.
That's the highlight for me. That's the highlight. Rosario is so good as Diana.
Yeah, Jason O'Mara as Batman, wonderful. Like he's a wonderful contemporary Batman. Like coming off of Kevin Conroy, he's a much like.
Yeah.
I really enjoy his performance. Jerry O'Connell nails it as Clark. You can't have anyone but Nathan Fillion play animated Hal Jordan. It's not like you're just not allowed anymore.
Yeah, no, you can't, and it's such a shame he's aged out of ever playing Hal live action.
I didn't realize. I feel like I did know this, but Shamar Moore of Criminal Minds fame plays Cyborg, and every time I'm reminded of that.
My mom has this aggressive crush on that.
So
man.
do I. He is a very nice man to look at.
He is very easy on the eyes.
I will like routinely go have major rewatches of. No fucking way. Why didn't I know this?
Who is it?
Dwight is Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah, I knew that. I saw his name in the credits whenever you told me to watch Death of Superman, and I heard his voice. I'm like, that is not Rainn Wilson. That cannot be Rainn Wilson.
I'm looking through like because when you look up DC Animated Universe, it brings up all the movies and there's cast, right?
Yeah.
What's really funny is that Tara Strong isn't credited. She's just Tara Strong.
I'm assuming she voices Harley.
She doesn't.
Oh.
She voices a bunch of random like background characters, which is weird because like in the movie that Harley is in, or one of the movies, I haven't seen Suicide Squad, but I thought it was her because she's in the movie on the cast list.
That's
but
funny.
It's not her playing Harley. It's very odd. But the other person that isn't credited, you'll like this, is Matt Ryan. He's just there as Matt Ryan because.
Well, they don't have to specify that. You know who Matt Ryan's fucking playing. You know it's John Constantine. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was Sam Witwer in one of those? I feel like he played Orm. I might be wrong.
He either played Orm. I can check in a second. Hold on. He either played Orm in this universe or he played Orm in Young Justice.
As I'm pretty sure Sam Witwer was in this universe. I could be wrong.
You're right. He played Orm.
Okay, because I know I did also see King of Atlantis, and I was super excited for that because, like I said earlier, Matt Lanter played Arthur, and then obviously Orm with Witwer.
But yeah, man, cast for this universe is stellar. You will not find that's a lie. You will find because Kevin Conroy and the OG crew, but like
that whole class.
These aren't a step down in any sense. Like they are giving their best, and with what they have, I should mention there are some times where, especially with what I watched today, where I was like, no one wants to be here.
No. Everyone's phoning it in.
Everyone's just like, I don't want to do this. We move on to Son of Batman, released the same year as just as, for the most part, these released 2 a year. So War and Son of Batman came out in 2014, and moving on, they'll all come out 2 per year until last year when we had 3. So
This keeps up the tradition of telling Jason Todd to go fuck himself.
yeah,
As far as the Bat Family canon goes.
I guess we should cover the big changes to the Bat Family in this universe. No Jason Todd, no Barbara Gordon, no Tim Drake.
Yep.
Those are all the big ones.
Barbara isn't in it at all.
I don't think so. I think Dick's like the love interest they pair with Dick a couple times is Starfire in the Teen Titans flicks. And Dick is just like an overall womanizer, like he isn't tied down to anybody. So I don't think she is. If she is, I don't remember, like genuinely.
Okay, no, you're right. I got confused. I knew that there was one of the female members of the Bat Family is present, and it's Batwoman.
Yeah, Kate Kane. We'll get to Batman Bad Blood when we get there.
Ernie Hudson played Lucius Fox in that?
Yes.
Damn. Okay, I see you. I love the fact that this gentleman named James Garrett, who plays Alfred in these movies, actually looks like comic book Alfred. Like kind of comedically. Here, I'll just hold my screen up to the camera.
I suppose that's easier. Oh damn! Yeah.
Like that's just how Alfred looks in the comics. Yeah. No, Son of Batman's fun. I'm in the minority of people who like Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin.
You are indeed in the minority of people with that opinion.
I know. I like him because he's the Robin who needs the most work.
I suppose. Like I don't dislike Damian in any way, and I think what they do with him in these movies is really good. My only complaint about him is that like he tends to have a character, like he grows as a character and then resets for the next movie.
Yeah.
So, like,
because it's more fun to put like hot-headed Damian in every single situation.
I guess, but like at a point I'm just like, okay, he's had the same lesson 5 times now. Like maybe
it's almost like Thor in most stories where like you have Thor's like opening story where he has to learn to not be a dickhead,
I guess,
and then he shows up and he's an arrogant dickhead immediately.
That's a whole other conversation. I understand what you're saying.
That's just a trope.
Yeah. The other big change that, at least starting off in this movie, that has ripple effects through a lot of the other movies, is this movie starts with Ra's al Ghul dying. Dying, not
like dead,
like not coming back, like not Lazarus Pitting, dead, like he's dead. Which was an interesting decision that I don't like.
Me either. Ra's might be my favorite Batman villain, so I was kind of upset to see him done out the gate.
Considering he is also an important point in a later story that gets kind of muffled with. And you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's part of this continuity.
There's so many things that are just missing for that story to not work. We'll get there. But
90% of this universe is Batman, by the way, in case you didn't know. It's
almost like he's the bestseller of the DC universe.
It's almost like
it's like they bank off of Batman, and then like right under that they're like Superman sells too. Like the kids like Supes.
Yeah.
And then everyone else just gets shit all. And then, like I wanted the Green Lantern movie so bad because there's these older Green Lantern animated movies from like 2011.
Yeah, I remember the one you're talking about.
Nathan Fillion. There's one that's an anthology movie that has like a bunch of short little stories in it, and it's really good.
Yeah.
And then the one telling how Jordan becoming Green Lantern. They're phenomenal. Like there's some of the best DC property stuff I've ever watched, and I want more of that. I love the lanterns.
There was another good one, and this isn't in this continuity, but I just thought of it. Have you ever seen Justice League Final Frontier?
I don't think I have.
It takes place during the 60s. It's another like Justice League origin movie.
I think I know what you're talking about. No, I haven't seen it, actually.
So it's not Fillion. I don't think it's Nathan Fillion. I want to say it's David Boreanaz of Buffy, Angel, and Bones fame, who plays Hal. Let me verify that.
Yeah, I think I know the movie you're talking about.
It came out in 2008. Yeah, David Boreanaz plays Hal. Neil Patrick Harris plays the Flash.
He jumps around a lot in this universe. In the Red Hood movie, he plays Nightwing.
Yeah, he's played Spider-Man a couple times too.
Really?
Yeah, he played Spider-Man. You remember that old MTV cartoon?
No.
No. Oh my god.
I didn't watch MTV as a kid, like at all.
I mean, neither did I. I just knew that the cartoon existed, and then I watched the cartoon like after it was over, and it was very. Think like, the kind of weird sci-fi TV that was coming out in the early 2000s. Now copy and paste that into like the Raimi-verse. That's basically how the show was.
What'd you say that movie was called? Justice League the
Final Frontier.
I can't find it. Is it called The New Frontier?
Maybe. I may just be fucking up the
Because
title.
when I look up Final Frontier, that's what
Yes, it is The New Frontier.
God.
It is The New Frontier. I'm sorry.
Google said no to what you said, so
Yeah, I typed in Final Frontier and then it gave me New Frontier because I'm an idiot. Well, I said Final Frontier because it takes place during the space race.
yeah.
So okay, that makes sense. But yeah, no, that one's good too. But David Boreanaz is good in that.
Now that we've gotten super sidetracked, Son of Batman.
Son of Batman. Jesus Christ, we're terrible at this.
The basic premise is Ra's al Ghul is killed, and Talia's like, "Hey Bruce, guess what? He's yours now. Bye." He ships off Damian to Gotham City, and Bruce has to learn to be a father to a murder-hungry, like 9-year-old, 10-year-old.
Yeah, that's another thing that's always that. Like, even though I like Damian, I've always been weirded out by the age that they drop him on Bruce at. Where like the Injustice universe is really good. Where like Damian is like my brother's age. Where like he's like Logan's 18, and they kind of drop Damian in, and he's at his like he's Robin in his like late teens, and I like that. Just because it's just kind of weird to see like a murderous 10-year-old with a katana filleting criminals.
I mean, like, it makes sense given the heritage, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a weird visual.
Yeah. The other big thing is that Dick is still very active in Bruce's life. They are partners, not like partners still, but like they work together a lot.
Yeah, they didn't have like the falling out whenever he became
Dick. Dick visits Dad quite often, and
Dick does flips. He also visits.
Yeah, Dick does flips. Dick actually does flips, and he the other big like contender that they like to throw at Bruce in these movies is the Court of Owls, because that was their big book at the time.
Yeah,
and I can't complain, man. I love the Court of Owls.
Oh yeah, no, the Court of Gotham Illuminati. Yes, please.
To go back to Slice of Life for a second, the reason I like the Cult of Cosmos so much in Odyssey is because they remind me of the Court of Owls. Like, it's this just the high class of Greece are controlling what's going on. They have their talon in the sibling you don't play as. Like, it's all really, it's the Court of Owls. And I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah. So, quick question about this universe. How do they handle Damian's conception in this one? Like, does Bruce get Me Too'd?
Yeah.
Or let me rephrase it. Does Talia Me Too Bruce, or is it just a hookup that Bruce doesn't realize he knocked Talia up from?
When you say Bruce gets basically date raped.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Bruce gets date raped. Because, like, he doesn't even knock Talia up. Like, she takes that DNA, we're going to call it that because we're trying to stay kind of family friendly, and uses it to make a bunch of Damian clones.
Oh.
So like this Damien is the one she chose to raise.
Okay.
And later on, we meet one that has been accelerated in the aging process and is just like a killing machine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know there were some versions that do it differently. I know some do the whole like Talia date rape Bruce. I know there's some versions that are like she knocks him out and then like harvests the DNA.
Yeah.
When there's like some where like Bruce and Talia just kind of hook up and then just pretend it didn't happen, and Bruce has no clue that he got her pregnant. But I was curious as to how they handle it here.
As far as I remember, it is a solid date rape.
It is a solid date rape. Good to know. But yeah, I did see this one. This is, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the one that has the cool showdown between Deathstroke and Damian?
Yes, because that's kind of the whole. Because Deathstroke's the one that kills Raish to take over the league. And then Bruce like is teaching Damian that killing isn't the answer. And so he lets Slade live, or like takes him in alive basically.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's a fun story. I like it.
It's okay. Wait.
I mean, I get my Damian Wayne rights, so I'm happy with that.
Am I right? I think I'm right. I'm going to say I'm right.
About?
Yeah, I think I'm right. Yeah. Okay. Well, because there's also one where this story kind of just bleeds together for me because it's ongoing. But later on, when they fight the Court of Owls, the Court of Owls aren't actually in that movie.
Oh, okay.
I just remembered they're in the next one, which isn't next in the list, but in Batman versus Robin, they're like a big factor.
Yes, I think I've seen that one, as bits and pieces of that one as well.
But next is Justice League Throne of Atlantis, which is the story of Arthur joining the Justice League, which I think they officially named themselves in this movie. It's because like they've officially like created the Justice League, but they don't actually do anything. Like Cyborg just kind of lives in a Star Labs facility and does things.
Yeah,
and
I know they do that little tease at the end of War,
like
where there's like the "What are we gonna call ourselves? The Super Friends?"
Yeah.
Which they take from the old Justice League cartoon as well, which I like.
But like Cyborg's just kind of living in the facility that will become the Hall of Justice, and
yeah,
no one's been interacting together, and like this is their next like, okay, we need to start working together to do this because like Atlantis needs our help, I guess. Also, Atlantis is real. They come across Arthur, like the classic. Arthur needs to go to Atlantis and claim his birthright, yada yada. It's okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I said, lots of good performances. I got my Clone Wars alumnus, like I said earlier. So,
not an unnecessary watch. I don't remember much of this movie. Remember one?
Yeah, I just remember being excited to hear Matt Lanter and Sam Witwer because they came out when what was that, 2013, 2014?
2015.
That one was 2015? Okay, so
this is the first one of 2015.
Yeah, so this is like right after Clone Wars pretty much went off the air, so I was happy boy.
Batman versus Robin. This is the one that has the Court of Owls.
Gotham Illuminati, here we go.
I love it. Oh my god, I love it.
So what exactly is this one about? Because this is one of those ones that like I kind of put on in the background but didn't actually like really soak in.
So Talon is trying to recruit Damian to be a new Talon.
Okay.
And because like Damian's getting frustrated at the no kill rule that Bruce has, because again, he has to reset every movie. In that way that a lot of people have a problem with Batman's no-kill rule of just like, this person is objectively the worst thing on the planet. Like, they don't deserve to breathe. Why are you letting them breathe when you could stop having them breathe? And Bruce has said that moral ground of like, I can't give myself that much power. If I do, I won't stop. You know, like, he's not an idiot. It's a very mature stance to take that I enjoy about Bruce a lot.
Me
I enjoy
too.
about most superheroes a lot. But Damian, again, is like 11. And so I actually have no idea how old he's supposed to be in these movies. He's school kid age, right? Because later on he ends up in boarding school.
I have a meeting with the head of the PTO, or Damian's headmaster.
Oh, I love it.
Batman's in the PTO?
It's great. So they... Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's just them going... Eventually the Court of Owls assaults Wayne Manor, and Damian has to choose, and of course he chooses Bruce, because that's how we do.
You're my dad.
Yeah.
Boogie, oogie, woogie.
And again, if I'm like confusing movies or mixing plot points, it's been a while. Like, I watched these. When would I probably not last February. Maybe it was last February.
Well, if you watch this after Titans, we're about at the time you would have watched them.
No.
Because you didn't review Titans until everybody was back home.
I hadn't watched Titans yet. I remember now. I watched Death of Superman, and because I got DC Universe to watch Young Justice, and then realized they didn't drop the whole season at once, and I had already paid for a year of DC Universe. So I was like, well, I'm in it for the long haul. I might as well watch what's on here. So,
is that a decision you regret?
I'm going to say no.
You're going to say no?
Because like Young Justice is one of my favorite shows. So like keeping up with that was fun. I also got to watch all of the, like, I got my money's worth of like what it would have cost me to buy all of these movies individually. I also rewatched Justice League, at least the animated show, at least once. So like, you know.
Yeah.
It was worth my money. Now paying for the second year, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But
and you got Titan season 2. That's worth the price of admission alone.
They couldn't pay me enough to. I'm gonna watch it again at some point just to like reorient my thoughts on why I hate it. But they can't pay me enough to watch that again.
Oh, God, I can't wait for season 3.
Oh, I sure can.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun.
Well,
we're on Knights of the Nerd Republic talking about like the latest episodes of The Mandalorian and good Star Wars TV. You're stuck with reviewing Titans every week.
Sorry. You got to do it with me. You have to, like, please. I'm begging you. Don't let me suffer alone.
We'll see if I get the Titans or Haiku first. What's the next movie, Travi?
The next movie is Batman Bad Blood, which is the Batwoman one, and it isn't great. This is the one that has the accelerated aged Damian, and Talia's like doing Talia things. Bruce is assumed dead in the beginning, and then he isn't.
Now, what is it that they're implying that he died from?
He dies in an explode. Like a warehouse explodes that he's in because he's saving people, and they're like, "Oh, he's dead," and then he's not. But
I want to do like an oral history of every superhero who's been presumed dead in a warehouse explosion.
We'd be here for a long time. We'd be here for an obnoxious amount of time. more obnoxious than normal. You know, like not.
More obnoxious than normal.
But they track down where Bruce, because Bruce is being held captive by Talia. I think I don't remember this movie very well. I didn't like it all that much. Like, it was fine.
Yeah, I will say, just as like a public apology to you, I did kind of drop the whole let's recap every single movie in this franchise kind of last minute.
I mean, it's fine. It's just that, like,
Yeah.
I remember the ones I've watched recently more, which like we're getting to those ones now after
Yeah.
Bad Blood. Yeah, I remember Bad Blood coming out and everyone was like, that movie sucked. And then I was like, oh, it couldn't have been that bad. And I watched it and I was like, I mean,
That movie
it
sucked.
wasn't like that movie sucked, but it wasn't great. It was okay. Like, it is definitely a skippable one, in my opinion.
Okay.
Although Talia dies. So, like, we're just scratching Al Ghul's off the list. Next up is Justice League versus the Teen Titans, which is a very odd title for this movie because that's not what happens at all.
I love that. I remember hearing people like, why did you call this movie like Jail versus Titans? As though there was like actual.
There's a book titled that, and it's like I think I read it. I read it or I watched a recap of it or something. And it's not this story at all. But like it at least garnered the title of JL versus Titans. This doesn't make it bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's a fine story. It's so Damian has another character reset.
Naturally.
He doesn't understand teamwork. He just doesn't he just can't do it. And for whatever reason, Bruce has been bringing him on Justice League missions. Because why not? So he's like...
That is just such a funny visual to me, is just like Damien's surly ass having to be in the same room with like Flash and Hal, who just don't ever shut the fuck up.
Yeah. In the best way.
In the best way. We love them for it.
So as like a learning opportunity, Bruce sends Damien to live with the Titans in Titan Tower. Actual Titans, actual Teen Titans. It's the real. They're actually Teen Titans this time. The Teen Titans has basically become this place for young heroes to go and learn about their powers and, you know, have a family where they otherwise might not.
Yeah.
It's not the classic team that you're used to, especially because like this is the universe where Cyborg is part of the founding Justice League.
So what's the roster look like for this version of the Titans?
Starfire is grown up and the kind of like the den mother.
Okay.
Raven is there as a teenager. Blue Beetle is there.
Okay.
Beast Boy is there.
No Nightwing?
No Nightwing. Nightwing's busy with Dick.
Okay.
Nightwing is busy with Dick Grayson. Nightwing is busy with Bruce.
Everybody's busy with Dick.
Who wouldn't want to be?
Yeah, right?
And then Damian rounds out our team. We have the classic, like, Damian thinks Raven's a freak, and then that, you know, just like they have this at odds thing and they have to mend that to finish off the final boss. This is actually a Raven story about Trigon, because I needed that, apparently.
That sounds vaguely familiar for you, Travis.
Doesn't it? But this one makes sense. This one actually makes sense. Because Raven is not even developed character, she's a character.
She's just not a walking series of events like she is in Titans.
This movie establishes Raven as like a baseline character, her baseline character from the comics, and that is more than Titans has done in 2 seasons of television. Like, this movie is fine. It's like, if you like the Titans, you'll like this movie.
Yeah.
If you like Damian, you'll like this movie. Damian has to fight Ghost Raish.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of in the same vein as Deathstroke in the Teen Titans cartoon from 2003, when during the Trigon arc, when he's back as basically a zombie, like like a zombie with superpowers. That style thing. Only they're actually in hell.
Okay, because you said Ghost Race, I thought you meant like a Empire Strikes Back, like Luke in the cave with Vader type thing.
No. It's actually Ra's al Ghul in hell.
Oh, okay.
Like, they're just in hell.
It is Ra's al Ghul in hell.
They're fighting in hell. So it's okay. I think the name Justice League v Teen Titans is because, like, Trigon comes back and the Justice League and the Teen Titans are working together to fight Trigon. But, like, that doesn't make sense. Not the name coming from that, not that happening. That makes sense. Movie's good. I enjoy it. I like Blue Beetle action. I enjoy Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle's cool. I love Blue Beetle.
I knew what was next, and then I looked. Oh, wait, it's yours. It's Justice League Dark.
Yeah, Justice League Dark is a lot of fun. Warner Brothers in the habitual, we have no idea how to sell a movie if Batman isn't in it. So the whole crux of this movie is that there's a supernatural threat that crops up, and Batman don't believe in no ghost, and eventually ends up coming across Constantine. Then Constantine's like, yeah, I know some people who can help us. So he gathers up Deadman, Swamp Thing, Zatanna, Etrigan is a part of this narrative as well. Batman fights a poop monster.
Excellent.
Yep. One of the demon thingies creates a poop monster. This movie's a lot of fun. Anybody who likes Matt Ryan's Constantine, this movie's for you. Constantine and Batman are 2 of my favorite characters in the DC universe. So getting to have them play off each other was a lot of fun. There's the one moment where, again, like in the same way we're like, what's your superpower? I'm rich. Where like at one point, someone's trying to read Batman's mind and they're like, you're so incredibly lonely. And Bruce is like, I have a butler. And it's, just the classic Bruce.
Bruce.
Yeah.
Batman quips are my favorite thing. It's one of my favorite things about Arkham Knight as a game. Is that, like, he just has so many of them. Like, because I think at that point in the story of the Arkham games, Bruce accepts that, like, that this is going to be the end of his career one way or another tonight. So he just doesn't give a shit. I love those. I love those quips so much.
Yeah, I think Batman's sense of humor is not as widely appreciated as, like, a Spider-Man or a Deadpool or even like a Flash or Green Lantern, because like Batman is funny in the same way that like Darth Vader's funny, where like he's not constantly taking like stupid pot shots. Mm-hmm. Like with Spider-Man, like if Spider-Man's going toe-to-toe with Kingpin, Spider-Man does not let a minute go by during a fight like that where he doesn't call Wilson Fisk fat. But, like, with Batman, like, it's just he's just got one joke, and that's all he needs. Like, he'll, like, one joke, follow it up with a bat grin, and then everybody's underwear hits the ground. But, yeah, Batman's got a few of those moments in this. And Zatanna and Constantine's romantic rapport is quite good in this. So, yeah, lots of fun stuff.
So they popped this, the ones that I'm missing in my rep, they popped on DC Universe for a while. Like the past couple months they've been there. I've been meaning to watch them and haven't like gotten around to it. And today you were like, "Hey, we should do this." With you giving me enough time, I was like, "I can watch these ones I've missed." And then they just weren't
Yeah.
there. Like they're not there anymore. And I want to watch this one because I can't say I love like I just love these characters so much. Like I like Zatanna.
Yeah, who doesn't like Zatanna?
She's
Honestly,
great. Like
she's cool as shit.
um. And I enjoy like you can't not like Matt Ryan as Constantine. It's not physically possible.
Yeah, well, and like one of the things I love about this iteration of Constantine is that, like, kind of like in the early Pirates of the Caribbean movies, where like every room Jack Sparrow walked into, there was somebody in the room who he had beef with.
Yeah, there's a scene from I want to say it's from the newer movie, but it might be from just the first one, and you can verify this. Where Constantine and Raven walk into a place, and Constantine's like, "Oh shit, it's my ex," and it's Harley and King Shark are talking.
This is in the new one, and I saw this floating around online, and I was like, hold on. Constantine was sleeping with King Shark?
Like, respect the hustle, but also, dude, like...
Yeah, like, I love that. Like, and that is... I mean, granted, somebody could make an argument with, like... And Constantine is canonically bisexual. And granted, like, there is the argument with, like, any time a bisexual character shows up in anything, they're, like, hilariously promiscuous. But, like, I feel like the joke is just the fact that he fucked a shark.
That also, like, again, Constantine has that, I have a beef with somebody in this room. It's just really easy to be like, we slept together once, and I didn't call them back, and they don't like me for it. Like,
yeah,
if you need, like, it's a crutch. I'll admit it's a crutch, but it's a funny crutch.
Yeah. I mean, it's a funny crutch because it's Matt Ryan behind the wheel of that character. And, like, he's very good at doing, just like Johnny Depp does with the Captain Jack stuff, where, like, he shows up on Tortuga and, like, both of the women slap him in the face at the same time. He's like, I deserve that. In that same way where, like, the movie opens and, like, Constantine is, like, doing, like a demonic game of poker. And then, like, the game goes south and, like, guns come out and demons get spawned in. And, Constantine's, like, back-to-back with fucking Etrigan trying to fight them. It's really funny, and it's that nature with Constantine of, like, he's just a walking problem.
Yeah.
And then Batman gets stuck with him, who is a walking problem in his own right. But yeah, Justice League Dark is a lot of fun.
One day I'll watch it.
One day when you get access to it again.
On that list of movies I haven't watched were there last month and aren't there now. Teen Titans: The Judas Contract.
Yeah, I was upset I didn't get to see this one because, like,
Oh, go ahead.
I will ask you this because I'm going to embarrass myself here. Judas Contract is one of those storylines that I know of and know, like, the basic plot of, but I know not a whole lot about.
That's fair. I mean, like, I've always seen the Judas Contract as the, like, the Smells Like Teen Spirit of Teen Titans stories, if that makes sense. Where, like, if you're getting into Teen Titans, like the comics in particular, like, one of your starting places is the Judas Contract. So it's the story of Tara Markov joining the Teen Titans, building a rapport with them to get all their dirty little secrets, and then reporting them to Deathstroke, who uses them to capture the Teen Titans and kill them. This famously is the story where Dick Grayson becomes Nightwing.
However, Dick Grayson is already Nightwing.
Well,
and is not a Titan.
From what I recall, this movie is a flashback.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
It's I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. This is one I actually want to watch. Maybe they had a similar situation. So that, like, again, the Judas Contract. Tara Markov joins. Tara was in the 2000. They do a version of this in the 2003 cartoon. It's just not anywhere near as dark as it is in the comics. Chiefly because Tara Markov is supposed to have like a sexual want for Deathstroke, which is very gross because she's like 18.
Oh, okay.
And Deathstroke's like that, like gray hair Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Also,
An older gentleman.
yeah. I also in the comic, there. I will never forget that one of their ways of signaling that Tara's actually evil is like the next like after it's clear that it's her, the next panel of her is her smoking a cigarette. Like, it's so funny. Like, and I don't know why.
You say that, and I see like the Doomer Rage comic where like it's the guy with like the black hoodie and the black beanie with like taking a fucking drag. It's just that, but Tara Markov just like.
But yeah, her and Beast Boy have a thing, or at least like he thinks they have a thing, but really it's just her trying to get close to every. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
In the comics, this is like a year of build up. Like Tara joins, and there's a year later, this all happens.
Yeah.
I haven't seen from what I understand, the movie axes the romantic want for Slade, which I'm always down with. They do this in Young Justice too, especially because like she's like 13 in Young Justice. Like, there's no way they could have had that work.
Yeah, you can't make that work at all at that point.
Instead, she's like lusting almost for a like not father figure, but like parent figure, I guess, or like just
She wants a mentor. Yeah.
But so I also really like the version from the 2003 cartoon because like it's a little lighter. She does turn at the end as opposed to not. Instead, she just like in the comics she just goes fucking batshit insane.
I was gonna say like this. What is like the like I've seen that like there are some versions where Tara does like turn back to the light side.
Yeah,
as it were. So is that not the case in Bad Blood or Judas Contract? Or
no, it's the movie follows from what I remember. Because again, when this came out, I was interested because I know the story. I like the story.
Yeah.
So I want to know how the movie turned out. And as most adaptations from like straight stories and books seem to be in this universe, it was subpar from what I heard. And the I think the ending is pretty faithful, where she like kind of goes nuts and she doesn't explode, but she like causes the room to shift and like do weird things, and it kills her in the process. Like,
okay, so she dies a villain in this.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least in the comic, and I assume she does. I think she dies. I'm pretty sure she dies in the movie. Because she hasn't come back. But, yeah. This is one that, like, I really want to watch for me, because I love the Teen Titans. I always joke that anytime I'm listening to, like, it's labeled comfort music in my Spotify, but just like that 90s alt-rock style stuff. Whenever Smells Like Teen Spirit comes on, I'm like, oh yeah, it's the one song Nirvana wrote.
It's the one song. It is the Nirvana
the
song.
only Nirvana song that's ever existed. That's how I kind of feel about the Judas Contract, but it doesn't mean I love it any less.
Yeah.
I will get kind of hipster about it a bit, but it's a great story. I want to watch the movie. I heard it's not as good, but if I have any more...
When's the last time you consumed good Teen Titans content, honestly? So what else is new?
I mean, Young Justice kind of counts.
Okay, that's fair.
Because they're the outsiders. They're the Teen fucking Titans.
Yeah.
They are a group of teenage superheroes living in a tower with a lineup way too reminiscent to the Teen Titans, who are then betrayed by Terra Markov. Like, they're the Teen Titans. Call them the Titans, please. I don't remember what's next. What's next? All right, back up. I think next is Suicide Squad. Yeah, Suicide Squad.
Okay.
Neither of us have seen this one.
No. I have nothing to say on this, unfortunately.
I don't dislike. I always like the Suicide Squad as a one-shot kind of thing.
Yeah.
Also, this came out in 2018, so it was after the live-action movie. So
The
it's
masterpiece.
still in the height of, like, people are obsessed with the Suicide Squad now kind of deal.
Yeah.
Again, I'm interested. There's another Suicide Squad movie. I think it's called Assault on Arkham.
Yeah, but that's like meant to tie into like the Arkham timeline.
Yeah, I have not. I started watching that,
It's good. It's really good.
and then I didn't. So, but yeah, I'll take your word for it.
You sound like Trevor Slattery in Iron Man 3. I am, but I'm not. He's here, but he's not here. He's here, but he's not here. Bloody hell, bloody hell.
We don't have much to say on this one. If you watched it, tweet at us. Tell us what you think about it.
Yes, do that.
And next is my personal favorite of these movies. The death of one Sir Superman.
I will say it is our favorite.
Whoo! Okay.
Okay, I will say this much. I don't think I could pick between Death of Superman and Reign of the Superman.
Like they're one movie. They're one movie.
I look at it like it's one movie. The same way with like Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Like Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2 don't fucking matter. It's Kill Bill. There's just an intermission.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what these movies are too. I will like if I'm only going to watch one of them, which is rare, but
Yeah.
if I'm only going to watch one of them, it's Death of Superman. I was obsessed with Superman Doomsday as a kid, like the animated movie. Every time
That movie fucked me up as a kid. I watched that way later than I was normally up as a kid, and just
because it was on Toonami. I vividly remember they put that movie on Toonami because it was an animated movie that was rated like slightly above what Cartoon Network would normally show. Like it was an anime range.
I caught it. It was on like. It was like, oh my god, way in the way back machine, like back when like Xfinity called itself Comcast, just straight
yeah,
up.
that's
And
in the Wayback Machine, like talking about Toonami wasn't.
no, I mean like the old layout for like the whole video on demand thing, where like you had to press like the number 1, and then it took you to like that whole menu where there was like their own little TV network talking about shit. Nana was like, yeah, you can rent a movie if you want, if you find something cool. And I was just flipping through and I just saw Superman and I was like, oh, hey, superheroes. And like not expecting to watch Superman get beaten to death.
How old were you?
Oh, man. If Nana was still living in Irwin, at the oldest, I was like 10 or 11.
Okay. Because I was probably about that old when I watched it for the first time too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, they aired it.
Almost certainly younger than 10 or 11, but like at the absolute out 10 or 11.
Because like I remember Toonami would sometimes have slots open for animated movies instead of just anime.
Yeah.
And so that's where they'd put like any Studio Ghibli films they wanted to show. That's how I watched a lot of Studio Ghibli films as a kid. And like I didn't understand any of what was going on. I was like, the animation's pretty. Kind of weird and like disgusting, but also pretty. For things like Spirited Away. But like
It's funny, that's what people normally say about me.
that was good.
I feel like I'm clocking in like one really good self-deprecating joke an episode over the past couple
I
weeks.
feel like that's healthy.
Yeah, I have to keep myself humble.
Yeah. But the
The uncomfortable laugh from you is what makes it fun every
no,
time.
I just thought of a one-liner back to you, but I'll save it till after the show. It's not making fun of you; it's making you up to be like a sex god. So,
please. No, keep going.
but I remember like they would play like the Hellboy movies, the animated Hellboy movies, and stuff like that in that slot, and I would like sometimes tune into that if I was like needed something on in the background. But then they were like, "We're playing a Superman movie," and I was like, "Excuse me." And it's in the animation, like it's a little off from Justice League, but it's pretty close with all the same voice cast. So I was like, "Superman movie, hello," and I loved that movie. I love this one.
It's so good.
I love this one even more. Like, it is very. I love watching Clark come to that realization of like he has to give to Lois to have that relationship be fulfilling, kind of deal.
Yeah.
I also like that in these movies it's flipped. In Superman Doomsday, she's in a relationship with Superman, and like doesn't know that that he's Clark Kent. And in this movie, she's in a relationship with Clark Kent and doesn't know that he's Superman. This is the movie that has that really nice conversation with Clark and Diana about why their relationship didn't work.
This movie was the turning point for me to accepting the idea of Clark and Diana.
Yeah.
Like basically what you were saying earlier was the realization I had of like, okay, I don't hate this pairing. It just can't be the end game.
Right. This is also the movie that has the PTA joke. Classic. What else?
This also has one of my favorite Batman tropes of him inexplicably performing better than all the people with superheroes during a massive fight.
Well, it's just like when you look at
even though he has zero right to be able to do that, but somehow is the only one who's still conscious.
when you look at the fight that happens pre-Superman, like Doomsday and Superman catching hands together, you have the Hawks. There is a Hawkman movie out there somewhere in this universe, I think.
What?
For the longest time, I was convinced there's a movie about the Hawks in this universe.
Okay.
But
go off.
It's not in this list, and I haven't been able to find it anywhere since then. And I'm convinced that I was just in a different timeline at that point, and somehow I merged into this one.
It's like that. It sounds like. I don't remember if this is a story that I told back on the old show or here, but you'll probably remember this. That crazy old lady who came into the movie theater while I was still working there talking about the Mandela effect.
Oh my God.
Who looked me in the eye and said, "No, it was Luke, I am your father. But you just have watched the timeline altered version of the movie."
Oh my God. Yeah, okay. That was repressed. I forgot about that story.
I think about it at least once a week.
You should.
I think that's why I don't sleep. I don't think that's why I don't sleep anymore.
Yeah, that's why you should think it, because it happened to you. But yeah, in that fight, right, you have like all the superpowered people are kind of the arrogant ones, so they're rushing Doomsday, and Bruce is kind of just dodging the whole fight.
Lots of dodging and lots of bombs.
Yeah, just like throw a bomb, run, gets hit, throw a bomb, run. Like that it makes sense that he'd be the one left standing. The fight with Diana is really good. And just like
that is fucking great.
I will never forget the shivers I got the first time I watched this movie when Clark and Doomsday lock hands the first time, and it's just that wide shot of all the buildings shattering, like the glass and all the skyscrapers. It's so good. Oh my God.
I love those. It's things like that I think like is a really understated humor that in these stories and franchises that absolutely shit on the laws of physics, that like there are like moments where these stories will be like, this is what would actually happen if on a scientific level, like if these two things hit each other so hard, like all the glass would shatter, and they don't talk about anything else. It's just this is the thing that would look cool, so we're going to talk about this. But not complaining because I'm not a science person.
Even I am, and I don't care. Like it's.
Oh yeah, I just like that this is like one of those few details that everybody has agreed that scientifically would happen, and it looks so goddamn cool that you have to acknowledge it.
The scene with him telling Lois that he's Superman is so cute, and like I love that scene when in the middle of the fight when he catches their helicopter and they're talking for a minute, and she's like, "You're going to die. Like he will kill you," and he's like, "Yeah, but like who else is gonna do this? You know, like I'm it. I'm all that's left." And then that last like I got to go back to work. Ugh.
I cried. I cried when it happened.
It's so good. I love this movie. And then we're just going to talk about them both at the same time. Reign of the Supermen is like, I watched some movie of someone drunkenly recount. I don't remember who it was. It was someone of note drunkenly recounting this saga in the comics, and how fucking batshit stupid it is. Because it is.
Travis, can we as like a Patreon episode get hammered and like? Because here's one thing. It is relatively easy to get drunk and tell a story by yourself.
Yes.
To get drunk with another person and try to tell a story together would be incredibly difficult.
I agree. Which means we need to do it.
Can we get devastated and try to tell the Clone Saga?
I don't know the Clone Saga well enough. I'd have to read up. I'd have to read up on it.
Because I'm on the short list of people who like don't hate the Clone Saga.
I am to that what you just described yourself as being to Judas. Like, I'm aware that it existed, and when like coming to front with it, I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
We'll have to find one that we both know like really well.
Yeah, something just absurdly convoluted. Hopefully in the 90s, so there's lots of mullets and pouches.
It's not quite in the 90s, but I have one on my foot that we might have to do. But we'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
But yeah, Reign of Superman, because like we have Steel, and somehow they made Steel cool. Like, they do the...
Yes, because Shaquille O'Neal reprised his role.
That's not true. Actually, I forget who played him, but I remember knowing the person. Hold on.
It was an actor who surprised me. I remember that.
Cress Williams.
Yes.
And Cameron Monaghan is in this movie too.
That's what I was going to say. No, remember, because I said that into the chat, and I was like, hey, your boy's in this movie.
I think I was sleeping. I think you were watching it later in the eve.
That makes sense, yeah.
But yeah, Cal Kestis is... I really don't like this version of Superboy, but this movie pulls it off. The leather coat bad boy Superboy. I can't stand that Superboy. But I love him in this movie.
This version of Superboy does like the really uncomfortable thirst TikToks.
Yeah.
Where like he does like the French tuck with the button-up shirt that's like halfway unbuttoned, and like has like a white boy perm and a dangly cross earring, and like shaves part of his eyebrow. That is this version of Superboy. Like he's just like a really horny e-boy, cocky asshole.
He comes around.
He comes around.
And then, they have Cyborg Superman, obviously. They tie it to Darkseid just to, like... I don't remember if he's tied to Darkseid in the original comic or not.
No.
I didn't think so. But because Darkseid is the, prevailing villain with the Justice League...
Yeah.
I love that at the end of this... at the end of this, actually, because he has, like, Lex Luthor has a heroic moment in... in Death of Superman, but in this one they like cement him as an official member of the Justice League against the Justice League's will.
Oh yeah, where he just shows up like that one friend everybody went out of their way to not invite to a party, but still somehow finds out about it.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I love these.
They're so good. I
enjoy a lot of these. These are the ones I regularly go back and rewatch.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I have rewatched Death of Superman recently with the intention of watching Reign of Superman, but also then fell asleep.
Yeah.
Because
when
either I'm asleep or I'm wide awake anymore.
Because I have this conversation a lot of, hey, Superman's cool, and they're like, Superman's boring, and I'm like, hold up, let me convince you otherwise. Here's this fantastic film.
Well, I really do enjoy this. You know, you do get to see Superman's humanity. You know, again, he's not a boring character by any stretch of the imagination. You know, it goes out of its way to recreate certain panels. Like you get the iconic cape laying across the rebar. You know, I will say, and normally I'm really good at like catching a plot twist before it happens. I was so engrossed in the story that the fact that I fucking forgot that Hank Henshaw is Cyborg Superman.
Yeah.
Like I knew that I knew that piece of lore. Like if I had like before watching the movie, if I was like got dropped into a comic book trivia quiz cold and it went, what is the like government name of the Cyborg Superman? I would say Hank Henshaw. And I was so sucked into the movie that I fucking forgot. And then like my brain like deleted that information so that it could surprise me. And then I went, of course you're Hank Henshaw. I knew this. Like this isn't new information to me, but it still knocked my socks off.
What was the other thing I was going to say? Shout out to Matt, patron and Discord mod. When he was living in PA, we would when we would hang out, it became just like a whole day of watching DC movies. Of just like trading back and forth of stuff we want, like stuff I wanted to show him and stuff we wanted to watch. Which is how he and I experienced Batman Ninja together for the first time, and it is a work of goddamn art. You haven't watched it, have you?
No, I've been waiting to sit down with you and watch it.
Ancient Samurai Batmex. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to...
Yeah, he sounds like it's up my alley.
There was this point where Matt and I were just like gripping each other like, how have we not watched this yet? This is the dumbest, greatest thing I have ever watched in my life. Oh my god.
You know what's really pathetic? Is that off the top of my head, like not counting Birds of Prey, because like we just only did that anytime Black Mask opened his mouth.
Yeah.
Because Ewan McGregor was just a gem in that movie. Is that the last time I really remember freaking out like that multiple times was during the trailers for Spider-Man Far From Home.
When,
Unburn
me, Walter. That movie's still good. I'll stand by that.
I still haven't seen it. There's a part of me that wants to see it just to validate how entertained I was by the trailer. And then there's a part of me that wants my only experience with that movie to be like having a nervous breakdown every time I saw that trailer.
It'll still, I mean, like, you can just add that in, only instead of the trailer, it's the movie, because, like, Unburn Me is still, it's the funniest part of the movie, but Unburn Me is a line that recurs through the movie. They never come up with a different way to say it.
Yes. Okay, I'm watching it then. It's over. I'm watching it. I'm gonna watch it later then.
But yeah, man. Anytime I talk with someone and they're like, I'm not super into Superman, I pitch them Tyler Hoechlin, who is a fantastic live action Superman. And then
Slender Superman.
I cannot wait for him to get his own show. I am so excited.
I'm excited for you, sir.
And then also these movies, like they are just so good and make you care about Clark, make you care about his relationship with Lois. It's delicious, so good.
Yeah.
Next on the docket, I gotta back up a couple tabs. Because as we've been talking, I've been like clicking on things, looking at cast members and like plot synopses to remind myself, which are always vague in the Google notes because like, of course they don't want to spoil the movie when you look it up, obviously, but also like, I need to know. Google, come on, please. Next is Batman Hush, which I'm glad I didn't buy because it would have. Though it doesn't, watching it doesn't make me as mad as Killing Joke. It still would have disappointed me if I had purchased it. So I'm gonna talk deep about this movie for a second. If you haven't watched Batman Hush or read the comic Batman Hush,
I was gonna say or if you've not read it, more important.
I highly recommend you go read it. They sell it in trade. I have the whole thing. Like, I don't own a lot of paperback comics. I own Batman Hush. It is that good.
Is that what you were referring to drunkenly recapping?
Maybe, because this story is ridiculous. But it's one I love quite a lot. And
it's fantastic.
It's so good. Like, it's just one of the Batman stories, you know? And
it's one of them, yeah.
It certainly is a Batman story. It exists.
I would say it's in the pantheon. It's up there with like Dark Knight Returns and, you know.
I like it. I personally like it more than
Halloween.
Yeah, I like it more than Dark Knight Returns personally. But
well, that makes sense. Like I have my very specific, like, if you tell a certain kind of story about a certain kind of character, it will resonate with me. So like I have a huge, like, I as a person, I'm primed for Dark Knight Returns. Even though I know it's not the best Batman story, like I know it's outclassed.
It's still fantastic.
It's still incredible.
Personally, I like watching the animated movies of Dark Knight Returns.
I can agree with that.
Because like if I'm gonna experience the story, because like it's faster, you know.
No, you're absolutely right.
I forget who it is that plays old Batman in those movies. He does a phenomenal job.
Oh, his voice is so good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Batman Hush.
Yeah.
So the movie kind of like it's primed to fail, and it somehow doesn't
because of the because of the amount of shit that's been changed in the timeline. Yeah. You can't tell Hush as is.
So like we don't have Red Hood, like Jason Todd doesn't exist. We don't have Ra's al Ghul. Those are the two big ones. So like that. A lot of the like underlying players that you learn about later. Oh my God, we do have Batgirl in this universe because she's in this movie. Barbara's in this movie. I just remembered.
Just side note, real quick. Kevin Smith is officially competing in the Schmodown now.
With who?
Quirky Mercs.
Okay. Okay. And we said we didn't have news this week.
There's a part of me that, like, if the schedule was there for it, I so badly would want to do a Schmodown podcast with you. We totally don't have the time to make that happen.
The one sport that we both love and keep up with regularly.
I'm still blown away by the fucking Jericho thing. Yeah. I still can't believe that happened.
Oh my God.
As you were. I'm sorry. I keep
you're fine.
Sidetracking you.
I'm glad you did for that. That's important.
That's important.
It is. So like the movie, the movie's primed to fail, and it doesn't. It just doesn't tell the Batman Hush story.
Yeah.
You know, like the whole Hush story is like at the end, Bruce and Selina can't be together. In Hush, it's because he's like hyper paranoid now. More like even more than he already was. In the movie, did you watch it? Have you watched it?
I've not seen the movie. I kind of got to the point where I was like, I'm not the type of person who is like averse to source material being changed. However, with this story, like I went into it knowing that it is Batman Hush almost only in name.
Yeah. Like at best you could call it Diet Batman Hush.
Yeah. Or like Great Value Hush.
Yeah, like not even Great Value Hush.
And I was like,
because like Great Value Hush would still like try to keep hush hush. You know, like
let's see how many times you could say hush before that word means nothing anymore.
Yeah. So we don't have Raish and we don't have Jason Todd. And so obviously those scenes mostly are cut. I think Thomas Elliot is actually dead in the movie because like there's no evidence that it was Clayface like it is in the comic.
Yeah.
Instead, Hush is the Riddler, which for the story being told, it makes sense, but it's still, he has this weird like question mark scar for whatever reason. When Thomas did the surgery on Riddler, he left a question mark scar on his forehead. Like the incision was in the form of a question mark. I don't know if that was a request or not. Because I could totally see Enigma going in and be like, all right, man, look, I need you to take this tumor out, but when you're doing it, make sure you cut into my forehead like it's a question mark.
I love the idea that, like, in the OR, it wasn't intentionally a question mark, but once Thomas Elliot was done, he just went, well, ain't that about a bitch? Hey, this is really good for branding.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm just so good at this.
I'm just really good. You should tell my best friend Bruce Wayne I said hi.
And he's totally, like, I don't think this version of Thomas Elliot has any kind of underlying hatred for Bruce. Or for Batman, who then he later finds out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So the whole story in the comic is that Thomas Elliot and Bruce Wayne are childhood friends. Bruce's parents die, and he gets his inheritance.
Spoilers.
Shit. There's a couple versions.
At least tell me that Martha Wayne's pearls made it out okay.
Man, I don't know what to tell you. They sure didn't. I think in the comic, like this version of it, they Thomas sets up his mother to die.
He tries to kill his parents, but it fails.
Yeah, well, so there's like in the Arkham games, it's that child Thomas Elliot sabotages the brakes on their car, and that and Thomas Wayne saves one of them in the OR. So he can't get his inheritance.
I think that's the same in the comics. I know that he fucks with the brakes, but the attempt fails.
I'll tell you what. Comic book.
That was crisp. That page flip.
Let's see. Oh, I was right to the Jason Todd bits that aren't in the movie. How weird. I love the like white streak in his hair for Jason. I like it a lot.
Oh, I love it so much. It's one of my favorite. I just love the way you held it up that nobody could see on the camera.
Yeah.
The way you just went, oh, hey, here's the best part of the fucking book that's not in the movie.
I don't know. The sword fight with Raish is pretty good, too, which also isn't in the movie.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, the version I'm like pretty sure is in the comic is that maybe he sabotaged the brakes on like his mother's car, but Batman saves her. Like in one version, he's mad at Batman and finds out it's Bruce, and in the other version, he's mad at Bruce and finds out Bruce is Batman.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. Um, oh no, yeah, okay. It is that Thomas saves his mother, not his father.
Okay, it is it.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Um, yeah. So, as a kid, he tries to kill his parents in a car accident in quotes. Thomas Wayne saves one of them on the OR, and he doesn't get his inheritance, which is kind of fucked up, but just a little bit, just a tiny bit. And so he goes on this massive plot to like string up a bunch of Batman's villains. He learns Batman is Bruce Wayne through the Riddler, who doesn't find it out the right way. Instead, he goes into a Lazarus pit, and the Lazarus pit shows him that.
What?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, because
Is that like a canonical ability that the Lazarus Pit has?
Who knows? We check the comic. Let's see.
Because I thought the Lazarus Pit only healed you and then turned you evil after that.
It heals you, it corrupts you over time, and if it resurrects you like from a dead body, it like really messes you. Like the more it heals you, the more it fucks you up.
Yeah.
I don't know that I can. The art in this book is so good. Buy a copy of Batman Hush. You will not be disappointed. Flip to the sword fight. Good stuff. Thomas stuff. Oracle. No, I went too far. Oh well. In the movie, I think it's that the pit shows him who like in the pit he like has a revelation about it's Bruce or something. Like a mental block is cleared basically. That connects the two. I also love that Bruce is like, I don't have to worry about you knowing who I am, and Riddler's like, why? And he goes, because you'll never want to tell anyone the answer. It's a riddle.
Yeah.
And like it's cute. So Riddler finds out. He gets in touch with Thomas Elliot. They team up. They start interlocking all the villains together. At one point, Poison Ivy takes control of Superman, and it's like this book is what showed me that like that fight is heavily determined on who is writing, because that's what heavily determines what Kryptonite does.
Yeah.
Because like
that's fair.
There are times where the color green is enough to like pin down Superman, and in this book he's wearing a Kryptonite ring and still almost breaks his hand punching Clark.
I thought he did break his hand when he punched him, and he was like, "This we can't keep doing this. He needs to snap out."
No,
of this.
I think he punches him once and is like, "If I do that again, I'm gonna fucking snap every bone in my hand. I need to stop."
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Although in the movie, it's Kryptonite brass knuckles.
Oh my god, that is so extra.
Because it's weird they keep the line, like he mentions bringing jewelry, and they keep that line from the comic, but then he brings out just like 2 sets of knuckles that are just like spiked with kryptonite. Yeah, the movie keeps a lot of the like a weird heist for a villain that's like it's off kilter. So in the movie it's Bane, in the comics it's Croc. Is what sets Bruce off and sets him down the rabbit hole, and then he eventually ends up in a relationship with Selina. They have a reasonably happy relationship because for once Bruce is letting himself be happy for like all of a couple days.
Yeah, naturally.
And then the Hush thing is, see, like I said, the big change in the movie is that it's Riddler instead of Thomas Elliot.
Yeah.
And the reason that him and Selina break things off in the movie isn't because she like leaves it and like it's ambiguous to Bruce if she was working with Thomas the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Because like I love it in the comics like they're like, okay, we can be able to be happy, and he's like, but how do I, like I'm still kind of messed up from this, and she says, oh hush, like shush.
Yeah.
Like, she says hush, and he's like, oh no, we're done here.
Be gone.
What?
Thought.
In the comic,
Let's see how bad that peaked. Let's see how bad that. Oh yeah, have fun with that clip fix. Anyway, back to the show.
I think that's going to be Joel's been doing a lot of stuff, so I'm going to let him handle this. I think. So, in the movie, it's because in the warehouse where the final fight happens, Bruce tries to save Riddler, which almost gets him and Selina killed in the explosion. And when they get out, she's like, your code is bananas. And, like, you were going to try to save him even though he tried to kill me. And you said you loved me. So, like, what the fuck? Sort your own shit out, bye. Like, it's a very different breakup.
Sort your own shit out, bye.
It's still reasonable. Like, I think that's a more legitimate reason for them to not be together. Like, it's more of a fundamental reason than just, like, Bruce is hyper paranoid now and can't take the idea that this relationship the whole time has been part of the plot, like part of the Hush plot. So I didn't like I said, as its own story, it's okay. As the story Batman Hush, it is not.
It doesn't quite work.
It just isn't all there. I would highly recommend the comic over the movie.
I can agree with that.
And we are left now with Wonder Woman Bloodlines, which I watched this morning.
I'm still here. I just accidentally turned the camera off. You're good.
This movie was an emotional roller coaster, and not in the good way. The beginning shows Steve Trevor.
I will say this much real quick. We just crossed the 2 hour mark.
Oh my god. Okay. I was actually curious about that. It starts pre-Justice League War. Steve Trevor is attacked by parademons.
Okay.
While flying with whatever. His plane crashes near Themyscira. He's healed by Diana. They're gonna imprison him because he's a dude. They're like, hey, you shouldn't be here, and even though you're here by accident.
The SJW feminazis.
Yes, of course. Death to the white man.
The fucking femoids.
And so even Diana is aware that this isn't his fault and he should be set free and yada yada. So she steals again, another classic Wonder Woman. She steals the armor and leaves Themyscira to protect this person, and then later protect the world because she's aware of what's happening in the world and knows she can help. So she leaves in the classic Wonder Woman armor, the gold, blue, and red.
Oh, cool! So they use that one in this.
Kind of. So she's wearing that, leaves with Steve Trevor. Again, this is pre-Justice League War. She then spends some time with, I forget the woman's name already. That's how important she was. This woman and her daughter becomes Silver Swan because she's jealous of Wonder Woman. And the relationship between Wonder Woman and her mother's basically obsessed with Diana because she's been obsessed with Themyscira. I'm going to look up the cast list so I remember their names. The cast list does not tell me their names. Oh no. Give me a second. Vanessa is the daughter's name.
Okay.
And Julia is the mother's name. Okay.
Okay.
So she's staying with this woman named Julia and her daughter Vanessa. Julia is like obsessed with Diana because she's a Themysciran princess. Duh. And Vanessa gets like really jealous. And then like that manifests over time, and she eventually like the flashback ends with her with Diana showing off the outfit she's wearing in Justice League War.
Oh, okay.
She's
cool.
on her way to meet the president, which she's on her way to do in Justice League War. And just like, she's now going to become a hero in the public eye. So then we flash forward to at some point, well after, she's still working with Steve Trevor. They aren't in a relationship yet somehow. Vanessa is like doing some shady stuff within her company that she works for. Eventually she ends up becoming Silver Swan. But like, again, the flashback bit in the very beginning are fine. And then the middle portion is just not good. Like, I didn't enjoy it at all. All of the...
Okay.
Like...
Yeah, you were saying that,
yeah. Part of what makes Wonder Woman so charming is her campy dialogue. That she doesn't know is campy, and that's what makes it charming.
Yeah, she has no idea. She sounds ridiculous.
And it's hilarious. Like, especially with Rosario Dawson doing her fantastic delivery. Like, it's amazing. But then no one else's dialogue is any good. So I don't know. Eventually, the plot. Also, Ferdinand the Minotaur is fantastic. He's the only good part about the middle of the movie.
Ferdinand the Minotaur.
Real G, if we're talking.
The G.
I'm just going to skip to the end of the plot, where they end up back on Themyscira to fight Giant Medusa.
Giant Medusa.
And the back third of this movie is like the fight is just so good. Wonder Woman fights Silver Swan, knocks her out. Is still trying to like, because again they were friends, right? Like Diana feels really bad about what happened because like she's aware that Vanessa feels wronged by her presence, and she wants to right that. And so, like, she starts fighting again, Giant Medusa. She's back in the classic armor. She's like, I'm going back to Themyscira. I have to defend it in the armor of the Themysciran defender. So she's in the classic costume. Duking it out with Medusa, as you do. At some point, she's compelling Vanessa to look at her, and Diana gets her to like hold back. So then she compels Diana to look at her. And in response, Diana grabs one of the snakes that she cut off from Medusa's head and like spits the acid in her own eyes so she can't look at her. So she's fighting blind. Metal as fuck.
Wow.
Yeah. The last fight of this movie is fantastic. Chef's kiss. Glorious. The end, like...
It outpizzas the Hut.
Yeah, I don't know about it outpizzaing the Hut. Superman v Doomsday. No, this one also outpizzas the Hut. It gets there. Eventually, like, Vanessa comes around and her and Wonder Woman tag team Medusa and kill Medusa, which unstonifies everyone that got turned to stone, Themyscira accepts Wonder Woman back into, like, being a Themysciran and being the protector and pseudo ambassador, right?
Oh, cool.
Not like actual. I don't think she's actually the ambassador yet. If they're gonna they're not gonna do that because there's no more movies. But
yeah, no more movies.
But in that way, we're like they're letting her like be the hero Wonder Woman outside of Themyscira. Her and Steve Trevor are in a relationship now. Again, don't know how that didn't happen yet. And Vanessa is living as an Amazon.
Cool.
Yeah.
And that's all the movies so far. We have one more to do, which we'll get to, hopefully.
I just don't want to have to, like, buy the the reason I don't want to buy these movies on Blu-ray is because then I'll feel that, like, intense need to get all of them.
You could just, like, rent it digitally.
I could. And, like, that's probably what I'll do if that's available to me. But like, I'm afraid if I buy one, I'll want to buy all of them. I might still buy Death of Superman and Reign of Superman just to own them because they're that good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all the movies. They're pretty okay. They range from great to okay.
No real stinkers in the bunch.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said earlier, this was kind of impromptu. Like I said, there's no real news this week. So hopefully that's different for next week. And hopefully we're able to squeeze in that review for you guys. Like Travis said last week, we should have had our second TNAP review out by now. But shit happens. With that, Mr. Grossman, where can the lovely people find you?
They can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Travis Political, where I'm still talking about Assassin's Creed.
And he's never going to stop.
I wish I could. Someone free me from the curse.
I want to be free of this pain.
I want to break free. I want to break free.
And copyright strike. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. You can also find the Nerd Academy podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where, while you're on our website, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon and help us keep the lights on around these parts. Speaking of our Patreon, again, shout out to Matt, the Waffle Wizard, whom I am very sorry that I have forgotten to shout you out a couple times, because I, A, keep forgetting there's a $10 patron, and B, because you're our friend, it just kind of slips my mind, because you're not like a random name that I don't know, and you just kind of like fade into my subconscious because I know you. So I suck, and I love you. Thank you. With that, be sure to tune in on Sunday for our Season 7 review, or our review for Season 7 of the Clone Wars, rather. We'll be joined by Laura and Alice of Force Toast. Very exciting. So yeah, be sure to tune in, and class dismissed.
No homework.